Do you remember their smiles in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977? Nearly 50 years have passed, and those faces have changed so profoundly it brings a lump to the throat. Some are gone forever, some lost everything, and others found success beyond what anyone imagined. Join us as we uncover the surprising stories behind them, and you won't believe what they went through. Sally Field as Carrie Frog. Sally Field was just 31 years old when she played Carrie Frog, the small, sweet, but strong-willed woman who rode alongside Bandit on his outlaw journey in Smokey and the Bandit 1977. The role made her shine, and also began her stormy, passionate, and painful romance with Bert Reynolds. Born on November 6, 1946 in Pasadena, California, Sally's life was marked by hardship. Her first marriage, to Stephen Craig, began with innocent love but quickly fell apart when his jealousy led him to demand that she give up acting. In tears, she walked away, leaving behind 2 young sons. Her second marriage, to producer Alan Greisman, fared no better. As Sally's career soared, Alan felt overshadowed. Arguments and distance grew until their love ended in a bitter divorce. But what hurt most was her relationship with Bert Reynolds, the man she once believed was her destiny. Jealousy, media pressure, and Bert's controlling nature made Sally feel suffocated. After those heartbreaks, Sally fell into a long period of depression. In 2005, she was diagnosed with osteoporosis, bringing physical pain and fatigue. Yet instead of surrendering, she confronted it head-on, becoming a public advocate for awareness and prevention of the disease. Today, Sally Field turns 79 years old. She continues to work in film, appearing in new projects and dedicating herself to social causes. With a net worth of around $50 million, Sally now lives peacefully with her family, often sharing life lessons and encouragement with younger women, proving that resilience, not fame, is her greatest legacy. Bert Reynolds as Beau Bandit Darville. Bert Reynolds was 41 years old when he played Beau Bandit Darville in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, a daring, charming outlaw who lived by his own rules. His character captivated audiences with that cocky grin, cowboy hat, and reckless freedom. The role didn't just make Bert Hollywood's top action star. It turned the Bandit into a cultural icon of the 1970s. Bert was born on February 11, 1936 in Lansing, Michigan, and his private life was nothing like his glamorous career. He married actress Judy Carn in 1963, but 2 years later the marriage ended bitterly. He discovered her infidelity, while she accused him of being violent and uncaring. Their feud spilled into the tabloids, tarnishing his image and breaking his heart. But the pain didn't end there. His second marriage, to Lonnie Anderson, was even more destructive. Once considered Hollywood's golden couple, their love turned into a battlefield. Bert accused Lonnie of greed. She countered with claims of infidelity and emotional abuse. Their 1994 divorce was long and brutal, costing him millions of dollars, his reputation, and his peace of mind. In later years, Bert battled severe health problems. After a major onset injury, he became addicted to painkillers for years. In 2009, he underwent heart surgery and suffered from chronic conditions such as heart failure and muscle pain. His fortune dwindled dramatically, from tens of millions down to about $5 million, lost mostly to divorces and failed investments. On September 6, 2018, Bert Reynolds passed away in Jupiter, Florida, at the age of 82 after a heart attack. His funeral was held privately with close friends and family, including Sally Field, the woman he once called the love of my life. His ashes were laid to rest at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Jerry Reed as Cletus Snowman Snow. Jerry Reed was 40 years old when he played Cletus Snowman Snow in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, the cheerful, loyal trucker and trusted companion of the Bandit. He was also the songwriter behind the film's legendary track Eastbound and Down, a country anthem that defined both the movie and an entire generation of fans. Born on March 20th, 1937, in Atlanta, Georgia, Jerry's real life was far from the reckless world of Hollywood. He lived a love story that lasted nearly half a century. In 1959, he married singer Priscilla Mitchell, who stood by him through every high and low of his career. Though fame and relentless touring often wore them down, they never parted. Priscilla once said, "He wasn't perfect, but he always came home." That steadfast love became Jerry's anchor through the loneliness and demands of show business. By the 1990s, Jerry's health began to decline. Decades of smoking led to emphysema, a chronic lung disease that left him short of breath and dependent on oxygen tanks. He was forced to cancel shows and sometimes collapsed on stage from exhaustion. Those who knew him remembered his unyielding dedication. Even when struggling to breathe, he kept playing guitar and singing. "Music is how I forget I'm in pain," he once said. On September 1st, 2008, Jerry Reed passed away in Nashville, Tennessee, at the age of 71, after years of battling lung disease. He died peacefully in the arms of his family. His net worth was estimated at about $3 million, a humble sum, but every dollar earned through sweat, laughter, and the melodies of a genuine heart. To fans, Jerry Reed will forever be more than just Snowman. He remains a symbol of loyalty, simplicity, and the timeless spirit of country music. Jackie Gleason as Sheriff Buford T. Justice. At 61 years old, Jackie Gleason took on the role of Sheriff Buford T. Justice in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977. The hot-tempered, loud-mouthed lawman who was always outsmarted by the Bandit. With his towering figure, booming voice, and hilarious expressions, Gleason turned the character into a legend of American action comedy, making audiences laugh uncontrollably while marveling at the natural genius of the Great One. Born on February 26, 1916, in Brooklyn, New York, Jackie's personal life was filled with heartbreak and self-destruction. His first marriage, which lasted over 3 decades, to Genevieve Halford, was a storm of betrayal. He cheated, drank heavily, and turned their home into a battlefield. Genevieve, a devout woman, endured 30 years of pain before finally filing for divorce in 1970. Less than 10 days later, Jackie married his second wife, Beverly McKittrick. But that marriage lasted only 5 years before collapsing under the weight of his temper and constant conflicts. His third wife, Marilyn Taylor, stayed by his side until the very end. But even she witnessed the man she loved deteriorate under the effects of alcohol and illness. Jackie suffered from numerous ailments caused by his self-destructive lifestyle. He smoked 6 packs of cigarettes a day, drank excessively, and often weighed nearly 140 kilograms. Obesity, diabetes, phlebitis, and finally cancer of the colon and liver all struck at once. Yet Jackie refused chemotherapy, saying, "I don't want to die in a hospital. I want to go with a cigar and a drink in my hand." And that's exactly how he went. On June 24th, 1987, Jackie Gleason passed away at his home in Florida at the age of 71. His funeral was held in Miami, where he was laid to rest in his private mausoleum, the tombstone engraved with his immortal catchphrase, "And away we go." His net worth at the time was estimated at about $10 million, a modest sum compared to his greatness, but the legacy he left in the hearts of audiences is truly priceless. Mike Henry as Junior Justice. At 41 years old, Mike Henry played Junior Justice in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977. The dim-witted, innocent son of Sheriff Buford T. Justice, who followed his father through every chaotic car chase. Though a small part, the role made Mike unforgettable for his gentle face and naive expressions, which perfectly contrasted Jackie Gleason's fiery intensity. Born on August 15, 1936, in Los Angeles, California, Mike's real life was the complete opposite of his cheerful on-screen persona. Diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in the 1990s, his body slowly began to betray him. The once strong hands that gripped a football now trembled uncontrollably. His speech slowed, and the spark in his eyes faded. Cheryl Sweeney, his wife since 1984, stayed faithfully by his side for decades, caring for him through every stage of decline, even as she herself endured the heartbreak of watching the strong man she married lose his strength and independence. The illness forced Mike to leave Hollywood in 1988, at the height of his career. He tried to hide his pain, but anyone who met him could see that his smile no longer carried the same joy. Every step and every word became a struggle between willpower and a body shutting down. The man who had once been an athlete, a hero on screen, was left with only silence and eyes filled with quiet exhaustion. On January 8, 2021, Mike Henry passed away in Burbank, California, at the age of 84, after years battling Parkinson's disease and chronic brain injuries. His passing marked the end of a painful yet dignified journey. His net worth was estimated at around $5 million, part of it from his football career and his iconic film roles. Pat McCormack as Big Enos Burdett. Pat McCormack was 50 years old when he played Big Enos Burdett in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, the towering, wealthy, and cunning man who, along with his son Little Enos, cooked up outrageous bets with the Bandit. With his massive frame, trademark mustache, and natural comic timing, Pat made Big Enos unforgettable, a hilarious yet shrewd character who became a favorite among fans of American comedy. Born on June 30, 1927, in Lakewood, Ohio, Pat was not just an actor but also one of Hollywood's most accomplished comedy writers. He penned material for legends like Johnny Carson, Red Skelton, and Phyllis Diller. His sharp wit shaped hit shows such as Get Smart, The Danny Kaye Show, and many other television classics. Yet behind his success was a man known for arrogance, mischief, and eccentricity. In 1974, he shocked America when he ran naked across the stage of The Tonight Show during Johnny Carson's monologue, just to win a bet with a fellow writer. His rebellious humor and audacity made him both beloved and feared in the world of comedy. Fame, however, could not shield Pat from loneliness and illness. After suffering a massive stroke in 1998, he was left partially paralyzed and confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Though friends and colleagues admired and supported him, he spent his final years quietly in a retirement home for entertainers. On July 29, 2005, Pat McCormack passed away at the age of 78 from complications following his stroke. He was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills. His net worth was estimated at about $2 million, a small figure compared to the laughter he gave the world. The spotlight may have faded, but every time Smokey and the Bandit plays, Big Enos's sly grin and twinkling eyes remind audiences of Pat's wit, daring spirit, and the quiet tragedy of a lonely artist. Paul Williams as Little Enos Burdett. Paul Williams was 37 years old when he played Little Enos Burdett in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, the sharp-tongued, small-time hustler with a big attitude. With his high-pitched voice, quick wit, and piercing eyes, Paul brought to life a character who was both irritating and irresistibly charming. He made audiences laugh every time he appeared, even if only for a few moments. Born on September 19, 1940, in Omaha, Nebraska, Paul's personal life was far more tragic than anyone could imagine. He married 3 times, first to Kate Clinton in 1971, a marriage that crumbled in alcohol and tears, then to Hilda Keenan Wynn in 1993, which ended in exhaustion and conflict, and finally to Mariana Williams, the woman who brought him peace. During the 1970s, Paul spiraled into alcoholism and drug addiction so severe that he once stood at a hotel window contemplating ending it all. "I had everything," he said later, "except a reason to live." Addiction tore apart his marriages, distanced him from his children, and plunged his heart into darkness. When he hit rock bottom, Paul began his long climb back. He entered rehab, sought therapy for depression, and eventually turned his pain into strength. He became an addiction recovery counselor, author, and advocate, using his story to help others find hope. Though his health was weakened by the toll of his past, Paul never lost his warm smile or gentle spirit. Now, Paul Williams is 85 years old, still living and creating in California. He continues to write music, give talks, and work with recovery programs for addicts. His net worth is estimated at about $14 million, largely from his timeless film songs such as The Muppet Movie. From a man who nearly lost everything, Paul Williams has become a symbol of redemption, proof that it's never too late to find light again. Ben Jones as trucker with red beard. Ben Jones played the red-bearded truck driver in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, a brief but memorable appearance when he was 36 years old. Though his role was small, it captured the freewheeling, generous spirit of the American South, the kind of man who would always lend Bandit a hand on his outlaw run. Born on August 30th, 1941, in Edgecombe County, North Carolina, Ben began his career in theater and television, but his path was anything but smooth. In the 1960s, he was beaten and arrested for participating in the civil rights movement, fighting for racial equality. Yet he never gave up. He turned to acting, rising to fame as Cooter in The Dukes of Hazzard, before taking an unexpected turn into politics. One of the few Hollywood actors ever elected to the U.S. Congress, Ben surprised the public by trading the set for the Senate floor, but his political journey brought both pride and hardship. There were dark times, marked by alcoholism and political defeats, but Ben found strength in resilience. In 1992, he married Alma Viator, who became his lifelong partner and greatest source of support. Together, they opened the Cooter's Place Museum chain, preserving the legacy of the Dukes of Hazzard and welcoming thousands of fans each year. "I was famous once, I've failed, and I've started over," Ben said. "Now I just want to be happy among people who truly care about me." Today, Ben Jones is 84 years old and still thriving in Virginia. He manages the museum chain, occasionally performs with his band, Cooter's Garage Band, and writes articles sharing his independent political views. His net worth is estimated at around $500,000, but his greatest wealth is not money, it's the respect and affection of fans who admire a man who has lived his life with heart, courage, and authenticity. John Schneider as Cowboy Extra. John Schneider was just 17 years old when he appeared in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, as a cowboy extra, a blink-and-you-miss-it part that nevertheless laid the first stone of his acting career. With his handsome looks, calm confidence, and warm smile, John quickly caught Hollywood's eye and soon became one of American television's most familiar faces in the 1980s. Born on April 8, 1960, in Mount Kisco, New York, his career truly took off when he landed the role of Bo Duke in The Dukes of Hazzard, a cultural phenomenon of its time. But his off-screen life was far more turbulent. John married 4 times, to Tawny Godin, Ellie Castle, Alicia Elaine, and most recently, Dee Dee Sorvino. His 26-year marriage to Ellie Castle ended in divorce, leaving him in severe financial distress and even a brief jail sentence for unpaid alimony. Then tragedy struck again in 2023 when his third wife, Alicia Elaine, died of breast cancer. John said quietly, "I lost my best friend, and everything went silent." The shock broke him. He paused his work to recover emotionally. Though once at the height of fame and success, John now retains only a fraction of his former wealth, an estimated $200,000 after years of divorces and financial hardship. Still, he continues to create, focusing on music and independent filmmaking. Today, at 65 years old, John Schneider remains active in entertainment, acting, recording music, and taking part in small television projects. He often speaks about faith, resilience, and his enduring love for the arts, even as he carries the ache of losing his wife. From that 17-year-old cowboy extra to a man who has weathered 4 decades of triumph and heartbreak, John Schneider stands as proof of courage and perseverance, an artist who never gave up, no matter how heavy the burden. Makin McCelman as Mr. B. Makin McCelman was 45 years old when he appeared as Mr. B in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, a small but distinctive role that embodied the stiff, business-minded personality standing in humorous contrast to the film's carefree, rebellious energy. With his calm demeanor and serious expression, he made the few moments of screen time unforgettable. Born on December 30th, 1932, in Memphis, Tennessee, Makin was a veteran stage actor who helped found the Front Street Theater and devoted his entire life to the performing arts. His career was never flashy, but it was filled with dedication. From Broadway productions like The Last of Mrs. Lincoln to memorable supporting turns in film classics such as Deliverance, 1972, and Falling Down, 1993. Yet the glow of success always came with sacrifice. In his later years, Makin suffered from heart disease and a series of strokes that left his health fragile. He never married publicly. Friends said he lived quietly and alone, pouring everything into his craft. After a severe heart attack in 1997, he retired from Hollywood and returned home to Memphis, living simply while following the film world from afar. Until the end, he was remembered as the man behind the curtain, a steady presence who gave his all to every performance. On November 29, 2005, Makin McCelman passed away in Memphis at age 72 from complications after multiple strokes. His net worth was estimated at about $1 million, a modest sum, but one earned through an honest life devoted to art. He died peacefully, leaving behind the legacy of a quiet, sincere, and proud actor who remained true to himself until the very end. Joe Cleco as Trucker. Joe Cleco was 24 years old when he appeared in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, as a muscular truck driver, a small role that perfectly reflected who he was in real life. A professional football player with a powerful build and confident presence, Joe was the ideal choice for the part, bringing an authenticity few could match. Born on October 15, 1953 in Chester, Pennsylvania, Joe endured a difficult childhood. Before fame, he worked as a truck driver, hauling heavy cargo across the United States. His athletic career exploded when he joined the New York Jets, becoming a legendary defensive lineman known for bone-crushing tackles that struck fear into opponents. But behind the glory of the NFL were trials that tested him deeply. In 1993, Joe was sentenced to 3 months in jail for perjury in an insurance fraud case. Then, in 2005, he was involved in a tragic car accident that took a man's life. Though cleared of wrongdoing, the event left him haunted for years. Rising above these hardships, Joe found redemption in faith. He converted to Catholicism and became a motivational speaker, often talking about faith, masculinity, and forgiveness. Though long retired from football, he remained close to the sport as a commentator and goodwill ambassador for the New York Jets. With his wife Debbie and their 5 children, including son Dan Cleco, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, Joe rebuilt a life filled with gratitude and purpose. Now, Joe Cleco is 72 years old, living peacefully in Colts Neck, New Jersey. He works as a motivational speaker and construction materials distributor, and he remains a beloved NFL legend. His net worth is estimated at around $15 million, earned through his remarkable football career and media work. Michael McManus as Trucker. Silver-Tongued Devil. At 31 years old, Michael McManus appeared in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, as the Trucker, nicknamed Silver-Tongued Devil, a sly, witty man who could talk his way out of anything. Though it was a minor role, Michael brought humor and charm to the character, leaving audiences with a lasting impression of the free-spirited, light-hearted tone that defined the film. Born on January 26, 1946, in the United States, Michael was not only an actor, but also a screenwriter and producer who worked behind the scenes on numerous acclaimed film and television projects. His career was full of ups and downs, yet always impressive, from small roles in MASH, Dallas, and Happy Days, to his breakthrough as Ben Tuthill in Poltergeist, 1982, a horror classic that became a global phenomenon. Behind the Hollywood spotlight, however, Michael faced repeated disappointments as several personal film projects were canceled or faded into obscurity. For a time, he nearly vanished from the screen, exhausted and disillusioned by an industry that often forgot its middle-aged actors. After years in front of the camera, Michael transitioned into writing and producing. In 1982, he won a Writers Guild of America award for all commercials, a Steve Martin special, and later contributed to the success of hit comedies such as Mafia and Hot Shots. Part 2. Though respected within the industry, he chose a modest, private life, far from the chaos of fame, focusing instead on creativity and storytelling behind the scenes. Now, Michael McManus is 79 years old, retired and living quietly with his family, rarely making public appearances. He spends most of his time writing, mentoring independent screenwriters, and participating in the Writers Guild of America. His net worth is estimated at around $1 million, a modest but fitting reward for a lifetime devoted to art and persistence. Michael McManus may never have been Hollywood's brightest star, but he stands as proof that quiet dedication and enduring passion shine longer than any spotlight. Linda McClure as Waynette Snow. Linda McClure was 30 years old when she played Waynette Snow in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, the alluring, strong-willed wife of Snowman, Jerry Reed, embodying the charm of Southern womanhood, simple, clever, and a little rebellious. Though her screen time was brief, Linda's soft beauty and subtle grace made her performance unforgettable as the woman behind a free-spirited man. Born on September 6, 1947, in Santa Monica, California, Linda rose to prominence during Hollywood's golden era, appearing in classic comedies and action films like The Cannonball Run and Hooper. In an industry driven by gossip and rivalry, she chose a quieter path, building an image of independence and dignity. Her marriage to John McClure, which began in 1964, has lasted over 6 decades, admired by many for its unwavering loyalty and mutual understanding. Although her career never reached the explosive fame of some peers, Linda maintained a special place in the hearts of audiences. After retiring from acting, she led a modest life, occasionally attending tribute events and interviews celebrating Hollywood's golden years. Fans cherish her humility, kindness, and enduring warmth. And in 2025, at 78 years old, Linda McClure still lives gracefully in California with her husband. She participates in community events and supports art-related charities. Her net worth is estimated at around $500,000, primarily from her classic 1970s to 80s film work. To fans, Linda McClure is more than just Waynette Snow. She's a timeless image of gentle strength and lasting grace. 48 years have passed, yet Smokey and the Bandit remains an immortal symbol of American cinema, and the real lives of the people behind it are even more dramatic than the movie itself. Which of their stories surprised you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more hidden Hollywood stories behind the glittering lights.